Who is the female wrestler of the year for 2023? Myself and NXSteve are in the hot seat, and we're going to give our top 5 picks for you, going from 5th position, working our way up to number 1, and we're giving brief explanations on why we think they've had a good year as well. But NXSteve, thanks for joining us once again. Great to have you on board.
Yeah, man, looking forward to it. Like I said, looking forward to doing these top 5 lists. It's always good to have someone else's opinion and listen to theirs on who they think is their best wrestler of the year.
Absolutely, indeed. Then we want to know yours as well. Get involved in the comments below. Who do you think has been the best female wrestler of the year for 2023? All companies are included, so feel free to give a shout who you think has been the best. But without further ado, NXSteve, let's not waste any time. Give us who you think is your number 5 position.
For me, number 5, Tiffany Stratton. I think she has had a great breakout year in NXT. She is easily the biggest star they have on that roster at the minute. There's a couple of others that are close to it, but I think Tiffany Stratton is kind of almost waiting for her to step up to the main roster now, because she has had a great year. She's had a run as NXT Women's Champion, and I look forward to, she's one of the few female stars I look forward to coming up to the main roster in WWE.
Well, I tell you what, I have to give a sort of token shout out, because she just missed out on the list, but I really want to give her a shout anyway. Julia Hart, I think, was incredible for the second half of 2023. Has been pushed really strongly to become TBS champion. She's improving each and every week, but pipping her to the post for the number 5 spot is Tiffany Stratton. Like you've mentioned there, Tiffany's had a great year. She's got the character now down to perfection. She's had a great run as NXT Women's Champion, a great run against Becky as well. Like we mentioned there, the main event of No Mercy, that match was one of the best matches of the year in WWE. So yeah, some great stuff all around from Tiffany. Like you say, main roster bound, certainly. Charlotte Flair has even give her a shout out on the WWE press conference as being one of the big deals of the future, and I personally agree. I think Tiffany time is going to be happening for a long time in WWE. Who is your number 4?
Number 4 for me is Zoe Stark. I think, again, another one who's had a great breakout year. Throughout the whole Trish Stratus, Becky Lynch, Lita storyline, Zoe was able to just basically hang with the big dogs, essentially, and just make her mark. She then obviously got a shot at Rhea after the multi-person match that they was all in. She earned her shot at Rhea Ripley, and like we said in the preview and the review of that show, that I felt this was just a moment to see if Zoe Stark could hang with the big dogs, and she proved again. So yeah, for me, number 4, Zoe Stark. I think she's had a great year, and I look forward to seeing what else she can do going forward.
I've really enjoyed Zoe Stark's year. She's not in my top 5, but I will say that she had a great partnership as well with Trish Stratus early into her run as well. Really sort of eased her into the main roster and gave her some direction. And like you say, since breaking away from Trish, she's continued that momentum. Like you said, there were Crown Jewel, also Survivor Series. I think a bright future coming for 2024 for Zoe Stark. They seem to have a lot of stock in her name right now, and certainly I think 2024 she could make my top 5 list for sure. But my number 4 is going to be Becky Lynch. I think Becky Lynch has had a strong 2023. Obviously, she started the year with a feud with Damage Control that just would never end. It did actually then go on to a feud with Trish, which some would also say never ended either. But Becky has been a mainstay, has had big programs going through the entire calendar year. Obviously, she's had a great rivalry, like we said there, with Tiffany Stratton, which led her to become NXT Women's Champion, something she hadn't done before as well. Did a lot for the NXT brand around that period. Obviously, putting over a new star in Lyra Valkyria as well, who's now the current NXT Women's Champion. And of course, Becky Lynch once again was a part of War Games. And of course, let's not forget, she's been teasing a match with Rhea Ripley for the longest time, a match that I am very desperate to see. So yes, in the number 4 position, I've gone for Becky Lynch.
Yeah, I can respect it. Becky isn't in my top 5, shocking as it is, but like you said at the start with those first 2 storylines, they just seem to go on forever. And for me, until she really hit that NXT storyline, it was kind of like the most freshest thing that she was doing. Becky, for me, is constantly always one of those ones that feels like she should be in the main event scene. So when you've got 2 storylines that just drag her out for half the year, it's kind of a bit of a downer for me. But otherwise, she has had a solid year.
She certainly has. She had the women's tag team title run as well in that time, I believe, with Lita as well. Of course, it did lead to Trish, which led to the start of that program, obviously, when Trish turned heel after lost the tag team titles. But yeah, we'll be interested to see what Becky Lynch does when it comes to 2024. Still the man, still one of the biggest female performers in the wrestling world. But NXT, we'll move over to you to see who your number 3 is. Who takes the bronze?
For me, it's Julia Hart. I think she's had a great turnaround. Like, her wrestling has improved categorically throughout the year, and the payoff and being rewarded finally with the TBS Championship is just again another one that's been rewarded for their hard work and effort. So for me, my number 3 is Julia Hart.
Yeah, she's had an incredible year, and like I said, I wanted to get her in the top 5. She was in my top 5 up until literally a couple of hours before recording, because like I say, she's improved so much, and it's great to see the efforts of that she's got the reward for what she's put in, and I'm hoping that it will continue going forward into 2024 as well. And like I say, she's had a good run so far as TBS champion. For me, the number 3 spot, I can't ignore it, Bianca Belair. She's still one of the top female stars in the wrestling world. She's still one of the best in ring. She has been a women's champion for the first 5 months of the year, regardless of the storylines that she was put through. Obviously, creatively, maybe not always the most exciting, but certainly Bianca Belair, always when it comes to match quality, always delivers. It is best wrestler after all, and I always think her matches are some of the best when she is on screen. Obviously, she did win the championship back at SummerSlam before, of course, was written off TV for a short couple of months before returning at Crown Jewel. She was a part of War Games, and now looks to be back in the top position once again as we head towards the Royal Rumble season. So it looks like that Bianca's not kept away from that championship picture all year. I know many want to see a heel turn for her just to refresh that character. However, as I say, in-ring work is where this vote comes from. I think she's one of the best in the world at what she does.
She is. For me, she's not in my top 5 just for the pure fact that she did have a prolonged period of time off after Mania, obviously doing other stuff. But, like, again, another one like Becky that just always constantly seems like they need to be in the main event scene when they're doing storylines. So being part of War Games is great, but it's essentially with me, it's just waiting for her to be back in a main event match.
Absolutely. Who is your number 2?
My number 2 is Timeless Toni Storm. That girl has turned around this year, and one of the most must-see things on AEW. The whole character reinvention, the way she presents herself, the wrestling is always still great as usual. But for me, the character dynamic in itself is the reason why I am just falling in love with Toni Storm all over again. The fact that I want to watch her just to see what she does next, because she's so entertaining.
Toni Storm is an incredible wrestler. I was actually shocked that I didn't put her in my top 5, really, because I thought she'd be a shoo-in when I started doing this list. But for me, the Outcast was a bit of a turn-off on the situation. I don't think the storyline played out as quite as well as I wanted it to. Even though Toni Storm was great in ring, she did obviously get a championship run, obviously, taking out Jamie Hayter, of course, at Double or Nothing. But then she lost the championship, and that's what led into the Timeless Toni Storm. And I think for me, that character is fantastic. I'm interested to see where it goes, but it's come so late in 2023 that I think that Toni Storm's going to get that spot for me in 2024. But I still think it's an excellent choice, and she is definitely one of the best female wrestlers in the world. For me, the number 2 spot goes to Io Sky. I think Io Sky's had a great breakout year on the main roster in WWE. She's always been one of the best women's wrestlers in the world. However, she's really proved it in 2023. Yes, part of Damage Control, she's been a tag team champion. Yes, she had also that WrestleMania match that featured Becky Lynch. But afterwards, she said to Bayley, I want to be the one to break out. So some great matches on pay-per-view with Bianca Belair. She won the Women's Money in the Bank. She won the championship at SummerSlam 1 year after coming to the main roster, and was actually a bit of a nice celebration for Damage Control at that point. Since then, she's come into her own. Successful defenses against Asuka, Charlotte Flair. I mentioned Bianca already. And of course, when it comes to now Damage Control, kind of almost along with Dakota taking leadership, bringing in Kairi Sane back to the company, Asuka joining the race. So almost now Bayley is the outsider looking in. Perhaps Bayley's going to have a top 2024, but Io at the end of it looks like the one with all the control, and actually with the championship as well on the SmackDown side. Io Sky, my number 2 with the silver.
Yeah, thinking about it now, Io is one I've probably completely skipped over. I think for me with Io, it's just a case of that a lot of her matches are essentially screw finishes. It was kind of like she went through a period of winning matches without, like, she always needed someone's help, and it was kind of like, it almost made me feel like how Roman Reigns is with the Bloodline. It was a case of she couldn't just win a match by herself. But then again, I completely looked over the fact, like, the Money in the Bank and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I can respect your opinion. Like I said, I think it's just one I've jumped over this year and completely ignored.
Completely understand that. Let's move on to that number 1 spot. I'd be shocked if it's not who I think it is.
It's none other than Rhea Ripley. She's dominated the women's division all year long. She won the Rumble. She went on to Mania to have arguably one of the best matches of the year with Charlotte, and has just simply dominated the women's division. Okay, the fact that maybe the Raw brand hasn't got as many stars for her to face, but the fact is that every time she's ever had a match, she's asserted her dominance and become a major star for WWE.
Number 1 position for me, Rhea Ripley. I can only echo the sentiments you said. Basically, the start of the year to get her position to have, the longest time in the Women's Rumble, winning it as well from the number 1 position. She was meant to be hurt going into that match as well. It just shows how dominant Rhea actually is. Great match with Charlotte at WrestleMania, winning the championship. Has dominated ever since, and that's the thing. It's the presentation of the character. She is dominant. Nobody is on her level, and even when they put someone up to step up against her, doesn't matter if it's 1 superstar, 4 superstars, Rhea Mummy is always on top. It's gonna be interesting when she gets the match with Becky Lynch potentially at some point, maybe WrestleMania next year. I'm guessing they'll still do a match with Bianca at some point down the line as well, but right now Rhea is the number 1, and the storyline's not just in the women's division. She runs everything that's going on with the Judgment Day as well, and she's a big part of Monday Night each and every week with storylines where it's going in the men's division, the women's division. Mummy truly is on top.
Yeah, no, like I said, just a great superstar. Yeah, one of my favourites. I absolutely love her, man.
Absolutely. So that's what we think. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Is Rhea Ripley the female superstar of the year for 2023? Tell us why we're right, or tell us why we're wrong in the comments below right now. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button, share with a friend, and subscribe as well. Big thank you to NXSteve for being a part of this once again. It's great to have you on board. Check out their videos on the side of your screen right now, and check out more of the SCW Best of 2023 series. More will be popping up in the next few days. Thank you for watching. See you next time.